And away we go. Good damn morning, everybody. Welcome to the show with the 80s vibe in the background. How y'all doing this morning? Happy hump day! Yes, Mike, it is hump day. I'm glad to see you all are here. We're gonna have a lot on the plate today. Holy smokes, when I go into the trending topics on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, there was all kinds of stuff to talk about. And a lot of stuff I'd seen, some of the, there's some video and stuff that we're going to look at. And, but some of it I saw, but some of it's new this morning. And so we got a lot to talk about. So we're going to keep this part short and sweet because Rumble's not working. And it took me a while to figure that out. That's why I would have been on time today. Damn, but not today. But we'll be on time one of these days. Maybe on Monday. I don't know. But are y'all ready? Should we do this thing? Okay, let's stop the 80s music and play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel where we talk about what's happening in the world. And boy, there's a lot happening this morning. I got to tell you. Usually I go through and maybe half of the stuff that, half the stuff on Twitter that's trending I give a crap about. But today there was a whole bunch of stuff. And so we're going to get to that. We got some news articles. We got the whole shebang today. And everything but Rumble. We're exclusive on YouTube today because Rumble, someone said there might be a denial of service attack on Rumble. I don't know, but there's definitely something causing it to go slow, and then I ended up losing the feed once I got it started. So we'll just stay on YouTube today. That's fine. You can always watch the replay on Rumble if I remember to put it up there. And, we're going to have one of these days. So, but let's say hi to everybody and get it going because there's a whole bunch of stuff. I got a lot of tabs open and a lot of it's just stuff that's happening, trending, something now. So let's get into it. First, the chat. But let me just tell you, there was a chat on Rumble, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due. First to the chat on Rumble was Avocados Diablo, who gets the bell. Got to acknowledge that at least because there was a chat there for about a minute and that's how it works. So anyway, on YouTube though, of course, again, first in the chat, Avocados Diablo gets the bell. Well done, sir. Of course, as always. Also in the chat is Tyrannus Alexandrius, the gentleman, and I mean true gentleman, Lich. Good morning, sir. Also, good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg, Gunfox61, the P-Dog Knight channel Discord server administrator. Also, good morning to Ravon Harris. How you doing? Jimmy Das Hotep's in the house. Also, good morning to Frank Cap. How you doing? Good morning. Rick Ashbringer's here. Amazing disgrace. Trippy Liberty. What's up, my brother? Also, GDSOB is here. Simon Wolfwood, Lord Stanhope. What did I miss there? Special Can Acids here. Zed the Snarky. Good morning. Maddie's in the house. Also, I think is that everybody that's here so far? Oh, my favorite Canadian Jaeger ponies here. How can I forget? Of course. And Anna Lynn is also here. And I think that's everybody. If I missed you, I'll try to catch you sometime during the show. Nice to have you all here. Wait, Mike, yesterday there was could be boomer attack. Oh, it was yesterday. Rumble plagued by hamster cancer. What? Okay, I don't know what that means. No DDoS on Rumble. Other streams are running fine. Well, then I'm just maybe it was a boomer attack. I don't know. one and only. I'm sure there's a P-Dog doppelganger out there somewhere. Not really. There's no doppelganger. Well, my father in Nigeria, except he's a lot dark. He was a lot darker than I was. So we're kind of doppelgangers. If you see the picture of us side by side in the GQ article, we do look very much alike. And my aunt even said when I first met my aunt out in California, my father's sister, and there's a question: oh, is this really his son? Because this is when I first met them. When I was, when I discovered my father. And she's like, she looked at me for 1 second. She goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're definitely my brother's son." So, anyway, what is this monkey here? What? Why are Zionists at Rockstar Games releasing this sexualized video game for children in America? Okay, what? Okay, that's weird. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm just looking at a tweet on Twitter or Rumble or not. What's it called? Not Rumble. The app formerly known as Twitter X, whatever. Anyway, real quick, thank you to a couple people here. Thanks for retweeting the show. That would be Jimmy Das Hotep and Tyler F. reposted the post that I posted, and we got a lot of stuff going on now. First, we'll do the kind of the sad news. Norman Lear has passed away. Norman Lear, the creator of All in the Family. Okay, that's not really Norman Lear. That's that's not him. Norman Lear, the great producer, creator of great shows from the 70s. Norman Lear has passed away. He was 101 years old, the legendary television producer behind All in the Family and The Jeffersons and so many more shows. I mean, you may have realized or may not have realized how many of the shows in the 70s, the sitcoms and that you watched were Norman Lear productions. Okay, so here's ABC News's article about this. Why is this on here? I don't give a shit. Norman Lear, producer of All in the Family and The Jeffersons, dead at 101. Lear produced several major hits on television during the 70s. Several is an understatement. He was the king of sitcoms at the time. One of the most prolific producers in television history has died. He was 101 years old. Norman lived a life of curiosity, tenacity, and empathy. His family said in a statement, he deeply loved our country and spent a lifetime helping to preserve its founding ideals of justice and equality for all. He began his career in the earliest days of live television and discovered a passion for writing about real lives of Americans, not a glossy ideal. And, it's funny because his shows kind of reflected that. They weren't, Archie Bunker was kind of and George Jefferson and the Good Time Show and all those shows were a little bit gritty at the time for comedies, but they, because they told they told stories that seemed like real people, right? Anyway, born in New Haven, Connecticut, Lear dropped out of Boston Emerson College in 1942 to join the military, serving in the Mediterranean Theater in World War II as a B-17 radio operator and gunner. He flew 52 combat missions, for which he was awarded the Air Medal with 4 oak leaf clusters. Lear was discharged from the Army in 1950, and his television career began when he was and his writing partner Ed Simmons got a job writing for the Ford Star Review, but after just 4 shows, Jerry Lewis snatched up the duo to write for him and Dean Martin on the Colgate Comedy Hour. Lear also wrote for the big screen, snagging an Academy Award nomination in 1967 for Divorce American Style. However, 1970s television belonged to Lear, and I was a child in the 70s, and my parents and we watched all these Norman Lear, sitcoms. Beginning with the 1971 debut of All in the Family. The sitcom was groundbreaking in what would become a Lear trademark, using comedy to examine hot-button issues like race relations and the war in Vietnam, abortion, gay rights, and rape. Now, I don't remember him addressing abortion or rape, but maybe because I was a kid and I don't know what that shit meant back then. Now, as Archie Bumper, a cantankerous, bigoted World War II veteran Carroll O'Connor clashed weekly with Rob Reiner as his on-screen liberal son-in-law Mike Meathead Stivic. One of the secrets of the show's success, experts have said, was that each side of the political divide had someone to cheer for. In All in the Family earned Lear a shelf full of awards, including 4 Emmys for Best Comedy Series, as well as the Peabody Award in 1977. All in the Family led to spin-offs Maude and The Jeffersons, as well as Archie Bunker's Place and the short-lived Gloria, starring All in the Family Sally Struthers as Gloria Stivic, now as a single mom. And I couldn't tell you what that show was. I remember Archie Bunker's Place when he bought the bar, and he's running the bar. I remember, obviously, The Jeffersons was a huge spinoff. Maude was a huge spinoff. But now, you can read the rest of the article. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But he also produced Good Times, which was a great show about this Chicago family that lived basically in the projects. And it was, in fact, here it is. Here in 1974, Lear created Good Times about an African-American family in Chicago. Not in the project, but they lived in high rise. That series tackled issues such like poverty, drug use, inner city crime. Lear's Midas touch also brought a British import, Steps, Toe and Son, here titled Sanford and Son. So Sanford and Son was also a Norman Lear. And look, some of those shows were on CBS. Sanford and Son was on NBC. I mean, he had on multiple networks. Starring comic Red Fox to further small screen success. 1 year later, Lear's One Day at a Time. Remember One Day at a Time? Sympathetically examined the lives of divorced single mother raising 2 teenage daughters while attempting to make ends meet in Indianapolis. Less successful, but critically acclaimed was Lear's 1976 satirical sitcom Mary Hartman. So if you're old like me and you remember all these shows, it was a plethora of shows. Look, here's let's see. This is Archie Bunker's also trending because of that. And there's a picture of Archie and Edith from All in the Family, and the Good Times. Oh my gosh, blanket their names. What were the names of this? Oh my God, what were the Jeffersons' names? Well, that's not Jeffersons. That's from Good Times. Anyway, someone remember that. Wait a minute. The greatest show of all time and always be The Honeymooners with Jackie Gleason. Okay, well, yeah, but okay, we're still. These are shows from my time, though. These are shows from my day. Anyway, so here's some of the shows though that were Norman Lear. All in the Family, 227. Remember that the school sitcom. Maude, The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, Sanford, which was after Sanford and Son. Good Times, One Day at a Time, and Different Strokes was also Norman Lear. I mean, so. If you were in the 70s or early 80s, most of the sitcoms that were popular were Norman Lear joints, to be honest with you. And this is Carmine Sabia, who's he's one of the right-wing guys on Twitter. All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Good Times, Sanford Son, Maude, One Day at a Time, 227, Different Strokes. Not a fan of your politics, but the shows you created that continue to entertain us in an era of television we will never get back. Thank you, Norman Lear. So. I think his book was critically acclaimed and well liked even by people. Well, anyone who has nostalgia for the 70s would have to love Norman Jeers. Florida and James Evans. Thank you. I was blanking out. Florida and James Evans were the mother and father on Good Times, and of course J.J. Evans' kid Dynamite was on that show, and. So that was a great show. I mean, I think the one thing is that his shows had a bit of a realness to him because not everyone was getting along all the time. We came from an era of, My Three Sons, Courtship of Eddie Father, Leave It to Beaver. And even in the 70s, things like the Brady Bunch, whatever. They were great. They were good shows, but these shows had such an edge to them. And it was kind of, they were fun shows to watch. So rest in peace, Norman Lear. Thank you for your contribution to American society. Now, a couple other, I was gonna say today too. Trending is, where is it? Here it is. Oh, well, I accidentally. Okay, hang on. I messed up there. Let me fix this. It is also St. Nicholas Day, I believe. We have our days that a lot of times when a tall person comes here, he reminds us what the day is. Today, let me get, what the hell happened here? Let's go to Explore tab. It is, let me find it because I'm not, now we're getting all these Norman Lear shows trending. Here it is. It's St. Nicholas Day. Not now. A lot of people say Santa, St. Nicholas. It's the feast of St. Nicholas today, and I'm not Catholic, or and I suppose it's not just a Catholic thing, but today, happy feast of St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas slapping the heretic Arius at the Council of Nicaea in 325. St. Nicholas, pray for it. I want to try to find something that says what St. Nicholas Day is. Please don't show any boobs or butts. Well, where the hell is it? It's not telling me. Apparently, there's something to do with giving candy. Happy St. Nicholas Day. Happy Feast of St. Nicholas. Okay, the patron saint of sailors. May they have calm seas. So St. Nicholas is the patron saint of sailors. In fact, here, the Navy Cathedral of St. Nicholas in the city of Kronstadt, in the middle of the breathtaking scenery of Russian winter. We'll catch up tomorrow. So anyway, that's St. Nicholas Day. I don't know anything about it. Anyone, any aficionados on St. Nicholas Day? I'm certainly not, obviously. All right. Also trending, another person who's passed away. If you're a fan of the Howard Stern show, and this is someone dying a little too soon. Ralph Cirella from the Howard Stern show died. Howard Stern says, we loved to laugh together. We would giggle. My wife said to me last night, you and Ralph had a sacred language. Howard Stern and John Stamos and other celebrities saying how shocked and saddened they are about Ralph Cirella dying. And John says, being taken from us suddenly, everyone was shocked as he was only in his 50s with some kind of terminal cancer, and he was fully vaccinated. I don't care if he was fully vaccinated. Anyway, he was. Wait a minute. I did not expect to be bummed about passing Ralph Cirella, as I am one of the best callers on the Stern Show history. I hoped you walked through the pearly gates with a laser pointer and started rating everyone. And annoying Eric the actor. He definitely stole that $200 too. So if you know anything about the Howard Stern show, you would know about Ralph Cirella. And then finally on the memoriam list today, what the hell happened here? Here we go. Someone known as Gamecock Jesus has passed away. Now, I know it's a kind of a weird name, right? I guess he's a super fan at the University of South Carolina. He was trending this morning because a lot of people, he's a very prominent figure at University of South Carolina football games. Someone here says, my heart is hurting and tears are falling, but I'm also grateful he's no longer in pain and has claimed the ultimate victory. Carlton Thompson, affectionately known as Gamecock Jesus, has been called home to rest with the Lord. He's just a well-known fan at South Carolina sporting events. Sad day for all of us who had the pleasure of watching Gamecock Jesus support our teams in games. Rest easy, serve forever to thee. So a lot of people mourning him. And it's an obscure person, but I thought, there's enough love for this guy that he's still trending on Twitter. He's been trending on Twitter all morning. So Gamecock fans are really, really sad for Gamecock Jesus passing away. Apparently he had a long affliction, and now he's no longer in pain, and so on and so forth. So rest in peace, Gamecock Jesus. All right, now let's move. Oh, and also Meathead is trending because, well, of course, Meathead and Archie Bunker are trending. That's certainly because of All in the Family, but also because Rob Reiner, who played Meathead on All in the Family, is he has a message about what's happening in an upcoming election, and he's really concerned about the upcoming election. And this clip is floating about, and it is enough that people are talking about it. So let's play the clip. It's only 35 seconds, and it's foreshadowing something else. So here it is: Rob Meathead Reiner, Mike Stivic.
Why do you think more celebrities are scared to talk about Donald Trump?
Okay, listen to this dumbass question. First of all, this is a I'm telling you, this is a dumbass question, where he says, "Why do you think more celebrities are scared to talk about Donald Trump?" Now, obviously, Meathead here, Rob Reiner, is one of these super anti-Trump people, right? He's one of the guys who talks politics all the time. Him and Robert De Niro and a few others. Okay, but I beg to differ. I don't think any of the celebrities are afraid to talk about Donald Trump. In fact, they almost never refrain to talk about Donald Trump if the subject's brought up. But let's hear Meathead's answer.
Like you've been the only one that's really.
Why. We gotta. You gotta lead from the top. You know.
Lead from the top. Lead from the top. What? Hello, furry kitten. What's up? Nice to see you. Lead from the top. The top of what? The top of your self-made pedestal? Now look, Rob Reiner, great actor, good actor and whatever, greatest Meathead. He's a great director. I love the movies he directs. But from the top of what? He's just a celebrity. But anyway.
Well, having a high profile. We have
it's
a scary time, right?
Yeah.
And if he gets
scary. Yes.
2024 is way too close.
End of
democracy.
End of democracy. Oh.
Yeah. That'll be the end of American democracy.
Really? So again, here's another one of these people from the top of a clip. Oh my God. Here's another one of these people who are saying, well, if Donald Trump is elected by the people who vote in this country, if they elect Donald Trump, and a key word in that sentence is elect, if they elect Donald Trump, it'll be the end of democracy. No, it won't. Shut up, Meathead. Yes, where's Archie Bunker when you need him? Anyway, it'll be the end of democracy. But listen to what he says here.
Do you think more celebrities will start speaking out as it gets closer?
I do think so.
I
hope Taylor Swift comes out.
I hope Taylor Swift comes in. Now, that's foreshadowing. That is foreshadowing of what is next on the plate today, because, Time Magazine has decided who the 2023 Person of the Year is. And it just happens to be none other than Taylor Swift. There we go. The Time Person of the Year in 2023 is Taylor Swift. Yay! Oh, really? Is that all you get? Is that all Taylor Swift? Okay, let me try that again. The Time Person of the Year in 2023 is Taylor Swift. Yay! Really? Now, I don't mind this, okay? Time Magazine has kind of a history of, look, and when they say Person of the Year, okay, it doesn't mean the greatest person of the year, it doesn't mean the worst person of the year, it just means, big newsmaker, whatever. Now, I find it interesting that they chose Taylor Swift. Now, obviously, they don't want to make it Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. Oh boy, because you don't want to put any more attention on them than they need. But I think it's interesting. Taylor Swift's had an amazing year. Has had an amazing several years, and she just has become a billionaire because, you know, she writes all her own music and produces all her own stuff and whatever, and you know, won her battle with record companies and Ticketmaster and all that shit. She's, you know, she's an amazing celebrity. She's one of the most popular, you know, concert tours out there. She's selling out stadiums everywhere she goes. She's a very popular young lady. She's not. Is she almost 30, 35, 30? She's in her 30s now, right? Anyway, so here's Time Magazine talking about Taylor Swift. And I have a theory about this, though, and it kind of has to do with what Rob Reiner just said, because let me see if I can fit this. Is this going to fit on the page? Let's see. There we go. We might have to go. No. Oh, we can go center. Let's go center on this one. Okay, this will work. There we go. So anyway, Taylor Swift, Times 2023 Taylor of the Year. So here it is. And how long is the article? They have some interesting pictures of her. You know, she's. I have to tell you. Let me just say something real quick though, because you know Travis Kelce from the Kansas City Chiefs is dating Taylor Swift, and Kelce was dating this fine young lady, and Taylor Swift's attractive. She's not ugly. She's a decent looking girl, but there's just nothing to her. You know what I mean? It's just, she's pretty much plain, but she has $1 billion, so that doesn't help her. Hello, TC, by the way. But anyway, let's just see what their reason. Taylor Swift is telling a story, and when Taylor Swift tells you a story, you listen because you know it's going to be good. Not only because she had an extraordinary life, but because she's an extraordinary storyteller. This is one about a time she got her heart broken, although not in the way you might expect. She was 17, she says, and she had booked the biggest opportunity of her life so far, a highly coveted slot opening for country superstar Kenny Chesney on tour. This was going to change my career, she remembers. I was so excited. But a couple weeks later, Swift arrived home to find her mother, Andrea, sitting on the front steps of the house. She was weeping, Swift says. Her head was in her hands as if there had been a family emergency. Through sobs, Andrea told her daughter that Chesney's tour had been sponsored by a beer company. Oh, no! Taylor was too young to join the tour. And she says she was devastated. Taylor was. Some months later, at Swift's 18th birthday party, she saw Chesney's promoter. He handed her a card from Chesney that read, as Swift recalls, "I'm sorry that you couldn't come on the tour, so I wanted to make it up to you." With the note was a check. It was for more money than I'd ever seen in my life, Swift says. I was able to pay my band bonuses. I was able to pay my tour buses. I was able to fuel my dreams. Listening to Swift share this on a clear fall afternoon on her New York City apartment, I'm struck by how satisfying the story is. There are high stakes at the outset. There are details, vivid and sensory. There's a twist that flips the action on its head, and there's a happy ending. No, not that kind of happy ending. Stop it. For its hero, it takes her only about 30 seconds to recount this, but those 30 seconds contain the entire narrative world. Now, I'm just going to stop here. That is very much like Taylor Swift's songs, whatnot. She writes a lot of songs and the stories about how she's always breaking up with somebody and shit. And maybe she'll write a song about the fact that she'll break up with Travis Kelce eventually. But anyway, they go on to say that her accomplishments as an artist, culturally, critically, and commercially, are so legion that to recount them seems almost beside the point. As a pop star, she sits in a rarefied company alongside Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, and Madonna. As a songwriter, she's been compared to Bob Dylan, Paul McCartney, and Joni Mitchell. Really? I guess I don't pay attention. As a businesswoman, she's built an empire worth, by some estimates, it's over $1 billion. And as a celebrity who, by dint of being a woman, is scrutinized for everything from who she dates to what she wears, as if male celebrities aren't scrutinized for the same thing. Oh, they're throwing a woman card, victim card out there. How about that? She's long command. I mean, okay, let me ask you something. Do you think Donald Trump is scrutinized for what he wears and who he's dated? Do you think, well, even Travis Kelce right now is being scrutinized for what he wears and who he's dating. That's her boyfriend. Do you think Barack Obama scrutinized for what he wears? Tan suits? This is so ridiculous. Of course, anyone who's focused on as a celebrity is scrutinized for just about everything they do. You think Macaulay Culkin, who just got a star on the Walk of Fame, ever scrutinized for things when he was a kid? Yes, and he's a male. Okay? Of course, he went through some tough times. Anyway, silly. And she has long commanded constant attention and knows how to use it. I don't give Taylor advice about being famous, Stevie Nicks tells me. Why is she talking about to Stevie Nicks about Taylor Swift? But this year something, here it is. Here's why. Here's why she's Person of the Year. But this year, something shifted. To discuss her movements felt like discussing politics or the weather, a language spoken so widely it needed no context. She became the main character of the world. If you're skeptical, consider it. How many conversations did you have about Taylor Swift this year? 0. You know what my conversation about Taylor Swift has been this year? Other than like, why is Travis Kelce dating Taylor Swift? My conversation about Taylor Swift has been, okay, can we talk about this Taylor Swift woman? I mean, what exactly is it that she sews? And how swiftly does she actually sew it? That's all I care about Taylor Swift. Anyway, did you buy tickets to her concert film? Did you double tap on an Instagram post or laugh at a tweet or click on a headline about her? Did you find yourself humming Cruel Summer? What? The only Cruel Summer I know is the one by, is it Bananarama? It's a cruel, cruel, cruel summer when you're gone. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, doom, doom. That's the only Cruel Summer. I didn't know there's a Cruel Summer. While waiting in line at the grocery store, did a friend confess that they watched clips from the Eras tour night after night on TikTok? Or did you? No, but I get tired of seeing little video clips of her on... No, Cruel Summer was not Bangles. No. Okay, all right, we're looking it up. I almost positive Cruel Summer was Bananarama. It could be someone else. I know it's not the Bengals. Cruel Summer, Banana Rama. Bet you I'm right. Cruel Summer by Bananarama. Do not test me on 80s music. I will always win. So anyway, where was I? Taylor Swift, right? Taylor Swift, where's that article? Here it is. Let's see. But oh yeah, like she had the concert movie. She's doing world tour, selling out stadiums everywhere she goes. And she put her, in the last couple of years, she's started talking about politics. And that's what is very important right now. And that's why I brought up the Meathead clip about saying, well, maybe Taylor Swift can save us. And let's see, is this the one I think here? So, for example, let me go back to here. So here's a clip of Taylor Swift that has been very highly sought on the internet. And I want to show you this because this is back when she was, flashback of Taylor Swift, who is essentially owned by Alex Soros, going on an unhinged rant against Donald Trump like clockwork. Taylor Swift, one-time Person of the Year. As America heads into a presidential election, we need us some Taylor Swift to save us from the orange man dictator guy. Here's Taylor Swift back when she first started talking about politics and they were encouraging her not to talk about it, yada, yada, yada.
Swift comes out against
Hello,
Trump.
Andrew Thorstein.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I didn't 2 years ago.
Remember, she's a country star too. So, well, she's not a country. She's a pop star, even though she's still her roots were in country. Okay, but and that was her managers worried. Oh, you know, if you come out against Trump, you're going to lose half your fan base. Blah 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 blah.
Swift comes out against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I didn't 2 years ago, but I can't change that. I'm saying right now that this is something that I know is right, and you guys, I need to be on the right side of history.
Oh my God, the right side of history. That's my favorite phrase. I want to be on the right side of history.
Doesn't win that. At least I tried.
Taylor, here's the problem.
I just want to read you what I wrote, and I'm going to try to start. I just really want you to know that this is important to me.
I
This is
totally
something-
agree with this issue.
Have you heard first? Have you just
Yes,
heard?
I've read the entire thing, and the bottom line right now, I'm terrified. I'm the guy that went out and bought armored cars.
I worry for her safety as much as anybody does.
Oh my God. The reason he's terrified is that you think that that's going to cause Taylor Swift assassination attempts. That's what he's worried about. Are you serious? Oh, he gives a fuck.
Maybe more.
Oh my gosh.
It really is a big deal. She votes against fair pay for women.
She's talking about Marsha Blackburn too, because she campaigned against Marsha Blackburn, and Marsha Blackburn still won. And she's very sad about that because she's in Tennessee.
Against the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, which is just basically protecting us from domestic abuse and stalking.
And well, it's okay. The Violence Against Women Act, everything in it's already illegal, and so maybe that's why, I don't know, because it doesn't protect anyone else. It's kind of a one-way thing, Men also are victims of domestic violence. Women on women are domestic violence. Men on men are domestic violence. I'm not sure why, and I guess I got to look into the act, why they would have voted against it. I don't know why, but anyway.
Okay. She thinks that if you're a gay couple, or even if you look like a gay couple, you should be allowed to be kicked out of a restaurant.
No, that's false. That's 100% false. That is not true.
Basic human rights, and it's right and wrong at this point, and I can't see another
So anyway,
commercial
she is
and see her
this is when she was starting to get into
disguising
politics.
These policies behind the words Tennessee Christian values. Those aren't Tennessee Christian values. I live in Tennessee. I am Christian. That's not what we stand for. I need to do this. I need you to I need you to forgive me for doing it, because I'm doing it.
Okay, so anyway, that's so now, and I think that's part of why she becomes Person of the Year, because in that off-season election, she was stumping against Marsha Blackburn and so on and so forth. So anyway, now one of the funniest things though is our friend 3-year Letterman. Now this is one of my favorite character accounts. Okay, it's a character of the former football star who's now a youth coach. And I just think this is funny. So moral authority gives you rights to bully the bully pulpit. Basically, yes, and $1 billion in your bank account. So anyway, here's 3-year Letterman's take on Time Person of the Year. 3-year Letterman says, I have spent the last hour shaking with rage and punching my phone screen. This is without question the most shameful moment in our country's history. Time Person of the Year is supposed to be only for Americans who pulled themselves up by the bootstraps and succeeded on their own accord. Literally no one knew who Taylor Swift was until 2 months ago when she showed up uninvited to one of Travis Kelce's games, and now she's ridden his coattails to fame and fortune. She was also caught swearing on live TV and will never be as good of a musician or role model as Ashley Simpson, Chris Cross, or Demi Lovato, and she's Canadian, so not eligible for Time Person of the Year to begin with. Oh, America, 1776 to 2023. America's over because they named Taylor Swift as Time Person of the Year. That's hilarious. Travis and Taylor's future child, yes, will look just like Larry Bird. Someone here says, I've known Chris Cross for over 30 years. They succeeded the American way on musical talent. They didn't even have to date a world-famous athlete to get put on the mat. Oh, he thought they meant crisscross jump, and make it something. Smack Daddy, make you jump. I think he meant crisscross. No, wait, crisscross. Yeah, he meant that crisscross, not Christopher Cross. Sailing, take me away to where I'm going. No one knows that. No one knows what that lyric is. I'm sorry, except for Criss Cross. Okay, but he meant crisscross, jump, crisscross. Oh my God, that's hilarious. And Demi Lovato, who's now a woman again, by the way, if you weren't sure. Okay, got a couple more notifications here. Let me see what this is. What the hell is this? Wait a minute. What the hell's that? What is going? Oh, there we go. Notifications. Thank you, Somnambul Nation, for tweeting out the show. And looks like Jimmy Downs Hotep, and I already said that. And okay, I got you guys. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Moving on. What else is trending? Now this is one of those. There's some congressional hearings and stuff going on, and apparently Harvard University's Ivy League, all these things are trending right now because of an interesting exchange. An interesting exchange in a congressional hearing when I think it was Elena, what's her name? What's Stefanik, Representative Stefanik, whatever her name is, was questioning some Harvard, president of Harvard or some bigwig at Harvard and some other Ivy League, what do you call them? I don't know, officials, Ivy League officials asking about anti-Semitism in their schools and if any violence. We're gonna watch this one. And then I'll do a shorter version of it too. Here it is.
Ms. Stefanik, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Dr. Gay, a Harvard student calling for the mass
hang on a
murder.
second. We're gonna watch this whole thing. We're gonna watch all 5 minutes. Representative Lisa Stefanik questioning these university professors from the Ivy League.
Recognized for 5 minutes.
Dr. Gay, a Harvard student calling for the mass murder of African Americans is not protected free speech at Harvard, correct?
Our commitment to
It's a yes or no question. Is that corrected? Is that okay for students to call for the mass murder of African Americans at Harvard? Is that protected free speech?
Our commitment to free speech.
It's a yes or no question. Let me ask you this. You are president of Harvard, so I assume you're familiar with the term intifada, correct?
I've heard that term, yes.
And you understand that the use of the term intifada in the context of the Israeli-Arab conflict is indeed a call for violent armed resistance against the state of Israel, including violence against civilians and the genocide of Jews. Are you aware of that?
That type of hateful speech is personally abhorrent to me.
And there have been multiple marches at Harvard with students chanting, quote, "There is only one solution, intifada revolution," and, quote, "globalize the intifada." Is that correct?
I've heard that thoughtless, reckless, and hateful language
So now the
on
question.
our campus.
Let's hear the
Yes.
question
So based
now.
upon your testimony, you understand that this call for intifada is to commit genocide against the Jewish people in Israel and globally, correct?
I will say again, that type of hateful speech is personally abhorrent to me.
Do you believe that type of hateful speech is contrary to Harvard's code of conduct, or is it allowed at Harvard?
Listen to this.
It is at odds with the values of Harvard.
Can you
But
not
our
say here that it
values
is against the
also-
code of conduct at Harvard?
We embrace a commitment to free expression, even of views that are objectionable, offensive, hateful. It's when
Really?
that speech crosses into conduct that violates our policies against bullying, harassment.
Does that
Now, notice she's going to spend this whole time avoiding answering this question, and so are the other university presidents on this panel are going to avoid answering this question. And here's what I would say, because obviously, if there were some sort of, KKK presence at Harvard, and that was out saying that you should kill all black people, I'm sure Harvard would take some action, right? And I would say, when she says there's a commitment to free speech at Harvard, does that include not using someone's so-called preferred pronouns or pronouns, whatever, if they are they have a gender variation that may not be in line with what other people think. I'll bet you in a heartbeat Harvard would come down on those people, right? For that. But here, let's just listen to more of this.
Speech not cross that barrier? Does that speech not call for the genocide of Jews and the elimination of Israel?
When
you testify that you understand that is the definition of intifada. Is that speech according to the code of conduct or not?
We embrace a commitment to free expression and give a wide berth to free expression.
Do they now?
Even of views that are objectionable.
Do they now?
You and I both know that.
Do they now? Because I guarantee you at Harvard, you'd have disciplinary hearings if someone said something of even not even to somebody, but mentioning something that is beyond the gender variation that they choose. I guarantee it. But oh my goodness. Intifada, huh?
That Harvard ranked dead last when it came to free speech. Are you not aware of that report?
As I observed earlier, I reject that characterization.
It's the data shows it's true. And isn't it true that Harvard previously rescinded multiple offers of admissions for applicants and accepted freshmen for sharing offensive memes, racist statements, sometimes as young as 16 years old? Did Harvard not rescind those offers of admission?
That long predates my time as president.
But you understand that Harvard made that decision to rescind those offers of admission?
I have no reason to contradict the facts as you present them.
Correct, because it's a fact. You're also aware that a Winthrop House faculty dean was let go over who he chose to legally represent, correct? That was while you were dean.
That is an incorrect characterization of what transpired.
What's the characterization?
I'm not going to get into details about a personnel matter.
Oh.
Well, let me ask you this. Will admissions offers be rescinded or any disciplinary action be taken against students or applicants who say, from the river to the sea or Intifada, advocating for the murder of Jews?
As I've said, that type of hateful, reckless, offensive speech is personally abhorrent to me.
And today that no action will be taken. What action will be taken?
When speech crosses into conduct that violates our policies, including policies against bullying, harassment, or intimidation, we take action, and we have robust disciplinary processes that allow us to hold individuals accountable.
What action has been taken against students who are harassing and calling for the genocide of Jews on Harvard's campus?
I can assure you we have robust
What actions have been taken? I'm not asking.
Actions underway.
I'm asking what actions have been taken against those students.
Given students' rights to privacy and our obligations under FERPA, I will not say more about any specific cases other than to reiterate that processes are ongoing.
I'm sure partially because
Do you know what the number one hate crime in America is?
I know that over the last couple of months, there has been an alarming rise of anti-Semitism, which I understand is the critical topic that we are here to discuss.
That's correct. It is anti-Jewish hate crimes. And Harvard ranks the lowest when it comes to protecting Jewish students. This is why I've called for your resignation and your testimony today, not being able to answer with more
Now, hang on. Now, let's just stop. She calling for her resignation. She has no power to call for the woman's resignation. But it's interesting. I don't like this word. She is actually giving the right answer. No action needs to be taken for speech. This is the right starting to demand people to be dealt with in a much same as they complain the left is. I agree with that. I don't look, as far as the way they answered, it's the only way they can answer. They certainly can't, as far as, did you discipline anybody? Well, we can't tell you specifically who and what we disciplined for. But it's fascinating. On a campus that I guarantee you that you would be disciplined for speech that didn't adhere to the I'm not even going to see the LGB because the L, G, and B are not the T and the Q. Any of the T, Q ideology certainly would be dealt with harshly at Harvard. So I find it fascinating that that is the case here. Now, as we, and I'm going to scroll through some of this because it's pretty much the same answers she got from several of the people there. The idea that she couldn't answer whether or not, though, that calling for genocide of Jews. Where's the one? I have one here. Calls to kill all the Jews is allowed at Harvard's campus. Okay, that's not what she said, but in a sense, it's kind of what for here it is. Here's the questions asked to multiple
code of conduct or rules regarding.
Hang on a second. Multiple people, because she asked the same question to other people. So here it is.
Bullying and harassment, yes or no?
Hang on.
At MIT, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate MIT's
I mean, does it even
conduct?
Does it require you to go to a session where you have to learn about what you're saying? I get it. I don't have, again, free speech is a tough thing because this is a private university, but also I would think that if they were calling for, death to all black people, there'd be a whole different feel about this. There'd be protests on campus. There'd be all kinds of things. So it's interesting.
Or rules regarding bullying and harassment, yes or no?
If targeted at individuals, not making public statements.
Yes or no? Calling for the genocide of Jews does not constitute bullying and harassment?
I have not heard calling for the genocide for Jews on our campus.
But you've heard chants for intifada.
I've heard chants, which can be anti-Semitic depending on the context, when calling for the elimination of the Jewish people.
So those would not be according to the MIT's code of conduct or rules?
That would be.
And my thing here is I just want these universities to be consistent because they discipline people for speech all the time at these universities. And so I want them to either choose to stop doing that bullshit, which is probably the best solution, or do the same for all types of these types of speech. Ideally, you stop bullying people before they say hello, selected boy. Yeah, boy.
Ms. McGill, at Penn,
but all three of these university
the genocide
presidents
of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment.
Why is she smiling?
I am asking, specifically calling for the genocide of Jews, does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest.
I'd rather, and I guess the answer I want to hear is just them to acknowledge that it is what it is, that these idiot students, some of whom probably have no idea what they're saying, acknowledge the fact that that's what intifada and, from the river through the sea means, the eradication of all Jews from that land between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean, which just happens to be Israel right now. So, it'd be great. And she goes through MIT, Brown, and Harvard asking the same question. I'll leave the links in here. But fascinating exchange. All right, we're going to keep moving on because now I'm starting to run out of time. Why do they even need to ask the question? Because it's prominent on the campus. That's why. That's why they need to ask the question. So that Harvard University and Ivy League are trending because of that. Now here's I want to give you a take by Jonathan Haidt, if you're familiar with not Haidt, but Haidt, who is a professor. I can't remember where he's a professor at, but this is kind of sums it up a little bit here. As a professor who favors free speech on campus, I can sympathize with the nuanced answers given by the university presidents yesterday about whether calls to attack or wipe out Israel violate campus speech policies. What offends me is that since 2015, universities have been so quick to punish microaggressions, including statements intended to be kind, if even one person from a favored group took offense. The presidents are now saying Jews are not a favored group, so offending or threatening Jews is not so bad. For Jews, it all depends on the context. We might call this a double standard or institutional anti-Semitism. University presidents, if you're not going to punish students for calling for the elimination of Israel and Israelis, it's okay with me, but only if you also immediately dismantle the speech policing apparatus and norms you created in 2015 and 2016. Please read The Coddling of the American Mind, and I laid out exactly where the oppressor-victim frame came from, Chapter 3, how it spread out of a few departments to gain power over administrators and campus culture, Chapters 4 and 5, and how it drove the creation of the bureaucratic structures and processes that now have us all teaching and learning on eggshells, in Chapter 10. In Chapter 13, we offer advice to leaders on how to return universities to their academic mission and regain public trust. And that's where I'm at. It's like, look, and he brings up the best example. They punish people for microaggressions, which is someone gets offended by something you said. You didn't even intend to say anything mean to them, right? But then you're out here telling people, well, you know what, from the river to the sea, that's just calling for the genocide of every Jew in Israel. But that's just, we got to take that one in context. So that's probably, I love what he just said there. And Jonathan Haidt is a social psychologist at New York University. Stern, hiding a way to write The Anxious Generation will emerge in February. In the meantime, anyway. And I can't remember the group that he founded, but of professors that kind of think in that free speech realm. Now, let's see. Other things trending. Epstein is trending. You know who that Epstein. You know that name. Does that ring a bell? Couple things that have come up. Now, this is Elon Musk. The only thing more remarkable than the DOJ not leaking the list, the Epstein client list, is that no one in the media cares. Doesn't that seem odd? So things that are you'll never see in your life: a fire-breathing dragon, a Tyrannosaurus Rex, a unicorn, and the Epstein-Maxwell client list. Now, a couple things that popped up about this. Robert Kennedy Jr. was on Jesse Waters' show, and he was asked about whether or not he ever spent any time on Epstein's jet, and he answered very candidly. Here is Robert Kennedy Jr. talking about his.
You weren't ever on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, were you?
I was on Jeffrey Epstein's jet 2 times. I was on it in 1993.
And I apologize every time I hear Robert Kennedy speak. I need to clear my own damn throat.
And I went to Florida with my wife and 2 children to visit my mom over Easter. My wife had some kind of relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, and they offered us a ride to Palm Beach. So I went then, and then on another occasion, I flew again with my family, with I think 4 of my children, and Mary, my wife, to Rapid City, South Dakota, to go fossil hunting for a weekend. And
so both times with his family. Anyway, he didn't say anything else other than the 2 times that he wrote on Epstein's flights, and the flight logs would show. He was with his family. They were all there, so he wasn't doing any funky chicken shit. So anyway, that's that. And then also, though, Dick Durbin, the appropriately named Dick Durbin, busted lying during a committee meeting, claiming he never personally spoke with Marsha Blackburn on the Epstein flight logs. So video reveals Blackburn formally and verbally requested the logs be made available directly, and Durbin acknowledged the request. So here's a reporter chasing Dick, the appropriately named Dick Durbin, down in the hallway in Congress, asking him questions about his lies about the flight logs.
Chairman Durbin, can I ask you a quick question? Why won't you subpoena Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs?
So who are you?
Hillary Vaughn with Fox.
With Fox, of course.
Of course.
I don't know anything about his flight logs.
But why won't you subpoena them? Why don't you want to know?
I don't know the issue. I know who Epstein was, but I certainly don't know anything about the issue.
Well, he was charged with sex trafficking, so why don't you want to know who was utilizing his private plane?
Never been raised by anyone.
Well, Senator Blackburn has wanted to subpoena them, and there hasn't been a vote in your committee.
Said a word to me, not a word.
Oh, that's
Aren't
a flat-out
you curious,
lie.
Like,
That's a
what
flat-out lie.
high-profile or powerful people might be closeted predators and pedophiles? Doesn't that concern you? So why won't you subpoena them if you can?
It's the first time anyone has raised it. Thank you, Fox.
So are you curious about it? Will you do it?
Okay, now.
Durbin's a liar. Last week, Primetime asked his office.
Anyway, the point is, there are records that show that Marsha Blackburn actually formally made a request on that particular matter, and so he lied to the reporter on Fox there. So anyway, that's why Epstein's trending. Also, this is the same thing. Fox News Hillary Vaughn asked Dick Durbin why he won't subpoena Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs. Is claiming he's never been raised by anyone. Marsha Blackburn's request, despite Marsha Blackburn's request in the Senate to subpoena them. Also, and then Waters is trending because of the more Epstein stuff, which you just saw that interview. All right, let's move on. Riley Gaines is trending, another congressional hearing, and this one. So Riley Gaines was apparently this was a hearing on transgender sports or women's sports and whether or not they should whether or not trans people, men and who are identify as women, should be participating in sports. And this is interesting because this congressperson got a little bit of a bite in the buttocks on this one. So here's this clip.
To me that although the title of this hearing implies a much needed discussion, we're likely going to be forced to listen to transphobic bigotry.
Unsafe, unfair, and discriminatory practices towards women must stop. Inclusion cannot be prioritized over safety and fairness. And Ranking Member Lee, if my testimony makes me transphobic, then I believe your opening monologue makes you a misogynist. Thank you.
I have, as the saying goes.
Now, she didn't like that. Okay, then obviously we're not seeing the whole thing, but she claimed that Riley Gaines was transphobic, whatever. And so Riley Gaines came back with her being misogynist, which means she'd be hating herself. And it's one of those words that get thrown. There are buzzwords that all get thrown around, right? So anyway, here's and so she wanted to have that stricken from the record. Here's her trying to get the congresswoman wanted to get it stricken from the record.
Madam Chair, excuse me, I move to have the gentlewoman's words taken down. Madam Chair, she's engaging in personalities.
Can I just ask how it's fair to be called transphobic?
There's a
thing.
I would say men disguising themselves as women are engaging in personalities.
Order.
Yeah. Hang on.
Okay, I move to withdraw the point of order.
And then she withdrew her point of order. But anyway, in that hearing, oh boy, there's a whole lot going on. Here's in fact, let's see. Here's a longer section of that. Here, this is a little bit better. Let's do this one.
Such as teamwork and goal setting. In terms of mental health, studies show that participating in youth sports is associated with lower rates of anxiety and depression.
Okay, that sounds like some personal
higher
shit.
Self-esteem and confidence.
Women must stop. Inclusion cannot be prioritized over safety and fairness. And Ranking Member Lee, if my testimony makes me transphobic, then I believe your opening monologue makes you a misogynist. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gaines. I now recognize Ms. Perry for her opening statements.
Good afternoon, Chairman McLean, Ranking Member Lee, and distinguished members of the subcommittee.
That's interesting. The actual chairman of the committee winked at Riley Gaines. This is the same part where they go into this scramble and people start yelling. So I'm going to end it. It doesn't give you any new information. But here's a little bit of Riley Gaines' testimony at that hearing, too.
Physical contact or throwing something at one another or collision. These girls are scared. Another thing I hear across the country is women are terrified to speak out. They're terrified to be vilified. They're terrified
because
to be
some congresswomen will call them a transphobe.
Or bigots like we've been called in this hearing today for
That's
stating
right.
our views. And that's a real threat. And I understand it because since taking the stance that I've taken, my address has been leaked. And since my address was leaked, I've had people showing up at my doorstep. I've had drones flying above my house. I can't even tell you the amount of death threats that I've had that have rendered the FBI getting involved. It's real.
And there's no
Vitriol.
death. There's no death threat like a death threat from a trans woman. I'm just saying, because trans women are violent.
I've been held for ransom for over 4 hours where these protesters demanded that if I wanted to make it home to see my family safely again, I had to pay them money. I've been hit. I've been spit on. I've had bottles thrown at me, drinks poured on me. Thomas's teammates in particular, they were forced every single week to go to mandatory LGBTQ education meetings to learn about how just by being cisgender, they were oppressing Thomas. And when they were concerned about the locker room aspect, and 16 of these swimmers, Thomas's teammates, sent an email to their administration with their parents on the email expressing their discomfort in the locker room.
They were told to shut the fuck up.
The administration responded back with, if you feel uncomfortable seeing male genitalia, here are some counseling resources that you should seek in an attempt to re-educate yourself. At Roanoke College...
In light of the time, Ms. Gaines, just real quickly, I know that the locker room situation that you described earlier, do you think that the NCAA is actually working to improve this situation, or is it kind of status quo with them and sweeping it under the rug?
It's certainly status quo.
Yes, GDSOB.
President Charlie Baker testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee a few weeks ago, and when confronted with that exact question, what does this policy pertaining to the locker rooms look like right now, he couldn't answer. He didn't know what the policy was. He had to tell Senator Hawley, well, let me get back to you in writing. And I think that's incredibly telling for the NCAA president to not even know the policy as it stands pertaining to locker rooms.
Ms. Perry, you described...
Okay, I'm going to skip this because I just wanted to get that little bit of clip here. But I'm going to keep moving on because I got a lot more to get to, and I'm little time. So we're going to kind of go lightning round. Dictator is trending. Of course, you know why dictator is trending. You know why dictator is trending. Because... Trump not giving clear answers when asked whether he'll be a dictator, according to Jim Acosta. So, look, he was on an interview and said, someone asked if he would be a dictator. And he said something to the effect, for one day, one day he would be a dictator, right? And then, which I have no idea what that means. You can read the clips here. He was talking to Hannity. Now, just to be clear, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody, right? Trump, except for a day one. After that, I am not a dictator. And then there's people pissed off. Oh, he said he'd be a dictator. He said he'd be a dictator. In fact, here's Eric Rupert. Play the clip of Donald Trump telling Hannity he'll be a dictator on day one of his presidency. GOP Senator Kevin Cramer, who just endorsed Trump, laughs. That's Trump being a smartass. So anyway, interns is trending, and that's because apparently a bunch of White House interns say Biden has ignored the pleas of the American people on Israel and Hamas in a letter to the POTUS and vice president demanding a ceasefire. White House interns, the White House interns who run policy in the White House because, whenever Joe wakes up, a group of White House interns joined the growing list of administration officials applying internal pressure to the President Joe Biden to call for a permanent ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, sending him a letter late Tuesday that accuses him of having ignored the pleas of the American people. Now remember, he hasn't ignored the pleas of the American people. Joe Biden is not in charge. They haven't written his teleprompter script or his note cards to tell him what to say about it, so he hasn't ignored anything. He just hasn't gotten the note card yet. Anyway, the letter first shared with NBC News and addressed to Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris is supported by more than 40 interns who work in the White House and other executive branch offices, according to the text. Fire all the interns. They have no business pounding the president on any kind of policy, whether I like the policy or not. We, the undersigned fall 2023 White House and Executive Office of President interns, will no longer remain silent on the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people. Oh, you dumb motherfuckers. It's not genocide. In the aftermath, okay, whatever. The interns wrote, you will no longer remain silent. Look, your job as an intern is to do what you're told and shut the fuck up, or don't be an intern in the White House. It's interesting. So anyway, that's fascinating that the interns decided that they're gonna write a letter. Also trending, Guyana is trending. I'm kind of lightning round. So apparently, there's a conflict in South America, and Venezuela apparently is declared the creation of a 24th province in Essequibo or something. Basically, the Venezuelan attempt to take land from Guyana because of the resources Exxon has identified. Does this sound familiar? Almost Putin-esque. Oh, it's almost Putin-esque, according to this Texas oil man. They're fighting with Guyana over a territory in Guyana and trying to say that they're going to take it over. Apparently, Exxon has found some oil resources there, and so now they're trying to steal this land from Guyana. And so Guyanese President Dr. Irfan Ali addressed the nation late Tuesday night, saying the recent actions made by Venezuela constitutes a direct threat to Guyana's territorial integrity, sovereignty, and political independence. So we got to watch that. Is that going to be a war in South America too? Communist Venezuela moves to annex democratic Guyana. They think the world is distracted in Ukraine and Israel. Well, they kind of are. And guess what? We have a president who's probably sleeping through the whole thing. So that's why Guyana's trending. All right, let's go. And then this clip, thank you. Well, this is from Reaction Puerto Rico, who's had this clip about, this is fascinating. In New York, in the state of New York, Kathy Hochul, the governor, Kathy Hochul, apparently New York City is going to charge their residents, all of their residents, traffic zone fees. $15 a day, or excuse me, not just $15 a day, $15 every time they enter the congestion zone per day. America, it says 15. Okay, here it is. Let's just run this clip. This is fascinating. This is fascinating. Here it is.
And so it begins. New York City will be the first city in America to charge Americans just to go to work.
The very first state in the nation, the very first
Look at the
city in
smile on her
America
face.
to have a congestion pricing
A congestion pricing fee.
plan.
Americans will have to pay around $23 per day.
Passenger vehicles would be charged.
Passenger vehicles $15, trucks $24 to $36, motorcycles $7.50 a day. So basically, $75. You have to pay $75 a week just to commute in the congestion zone in New York City.
$15 to enter the congestion zone. Trucks between $24 and $36, depending on size, and motorcycles $7.50.
What?
Those tolls would be charged once per day.
Once per day, and if you go in there on the weekends,
9 p.m. on weekdays. And 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on weekends.
So just another tax.
The proposal aims to reduce traffic congestion, but
they're going to tax you to go to work. You're in the congestion zone. Holy shit! I tell you, they will tax everything. They just find a way to take your money, like as if they're entitled to it, right? And it's also the state. They passed that law. What is it, Bill 123 or something? where they can quarantine you if they suspect you of anything that's any kind of disease or anything. They can quarantine you, no questions asked. I got a feeling that one's going to go to some higher court that's going to say, tell the state of New York, go straight to hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. All right, let's finish out with the lightning round of some of the articles that I have open, and I'm not going to be able to get into too much detail. Apparently, the House of Representatives has voted to, quote, strongly condemn anti-Semitism, but nearly 100 Democrats vote present. This is, one of those weird votes that they do, and it's a grandstanding vote, but it's interesting anyway. The U.S. House of Representatives voted Tuesday to strongly condemn the rise of anti-Semitism in the United States and around the world. While the measure passed 311 to 14, nearly 100 House Democrats voted present. C-SPAN's Craig Chamberlain shared a breakdown in a post on X saying 311 to 14. The House voted to strongly condemn and denounce a drastic rise in anti-Semitism in the United States and around the world. It's a resolution. It's one of those feel-good resolutions that don't mean much, but still it's interesting. The resolution approved by 2/3 vote clearly and firmly states that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. That's not necessarily true, but whatever. And the reason, so some of the Democrats, the reason for not voting for it or not voting was because of the fact that it defined anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism, which I can see how you could argue that they're two different things. But the breakdown among parties was 216 Republicans voted yay, 1 voted nay, and 4 did not cast a vote. Among Democrats, in addition to the 92 present votes, 95 voted yay, 13 voted nay, and 13 did not vote. So, here's Representative John Rose. Today I probably voted in support of Dan Kustoff's Resolution 894, which strongly condemns and denounces the drastic rise of anti-Semitism in the United States and around the world. It's a shame a number of Democrats couldn't join us in what was widely a bipartisan vote. So now they have a campaign issue they can run on in the Republican side of the House. Apparently, Thomas Massey, according to Joel Pollack, has posted an anti-Semitic meme claiming Congress chooses Zionism over American patriotism. Now this is that thing, and I wonder if he was the vote that did not, voted against the resolution. But according to some people, this is an anti-Semitic meme. And again, I don't equate necessarily Zionism with anti-Semitism, but this is, again, Pollack says he posted an anti-Semitic meme on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Tuesday, claiming that Congress these days had rejected American patriotism in favor of Zionism. Is that sound anti-Semitic to you? Maybe. I don't know. The meme, which borrows images from the video for Hotline Bling by Drake, is commonly used to mock hypocrisy. The idea that Zionism and American patriotism are contradictory is a common theme on the anti-Semitic far right. Is that what Thomas Massey was doing, though? Is that really what he meant? So anyway, Zionism is the belief that the Jewish people have the right to reach to a state in their historic and spiritual homeland of Israel. Since the late 19th century, anti-Semites have used the idea of Zion to suggest Jewish control and manipulation of world governments. And I don't think that's what he's doing. But anyway, so there we go. That's news that's popping up. Also, Mike Johnson says the House will vote next week on formalizing the Joe Biden impeachment inquiry. Interesting. The House will vote on the week of December 10th on formalizing the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden and strengthen subpoena power over the stonewalling Biden administration. House Speaker Mike Johnson stated during a Tuesday press conference the vote will be a test for House Republicans who hold a slight majority over House Democrats. The measure will need nearly all Republican support. So that's interesting. And that's on the heels of, well, there's a article in the Federalist, the short history of Joe's long record of lying about Biden Inc., just giving some examples of all the untruths he has told about his relationship with his son's businesses. In the Daily Caller, though, this is the other one. We talked about those fake email addresses that Joe Biden was using. He was using pseudonyms and whatever to correspond with his son about the business. Well, he used a fake name to exchange over 50 private emails with Hunter Biden's business associates, according to documents. Then Vice President Joe Biden apparently used a pseudonym to exchange more than 50 emails with one of Hunter Biden's business associates. Newly released emails show Joe Biden sent 54 private emails to Hunter Biden. Remember, he's never been in contact with any of his son's business associates. That's where the backdrop of this is. 54 private emails to Hunter Biden's close business associates and accountant Eric Schwerin by using the Robin Ware alias, according to an email search released Tuesday by the House Ways and Means Committee. The email data was provided to the committee by IRS whistleblower Joseph Ziegler, who testified Tuesday behind closed doors along the IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley. So they have a bunch of emails between the big guy himself and some of Hunter's business associates, partners, whatever you want to call them. Moving on, in Breitbart, the House committee produces a 78-page report on the DOJ's deviation in the Hunter Biden probe. So this is all Hunter all the time, where the Justice Department just didn't do the normal procedures when it came to investigating Hunter Biden. So they got a list here. You can check that out. In the Daily Caller, Josh Hawley and Christopher Wray get into a near shouting match over a memo targeting traditional Catholics. Let's see how long this is. This might be too long. Yes, it's too long. It's a 7-minute video of him talking to Christopher Wray, but they got into a little shouting match. The FBI retracted a leaked memo from the Richmond field office advising the Bureau to infiltrate groups of Roman Catholics who prefer Latin Mass due to their supposed potential of committing domestic terrorism. That is an actual FBI memo saying that Roman Catholics who prefer Latin Mass had a potential of committing domestic terrorism. Now, I know that all of the Catholic Mass goers who have been blowing up buildings throughout America has been an epidemic of late. So I know why the FBI would want to make sure that the epidemic of Catholic Mass, Latin Mass going Unabombers be, rounded up. But the document accused traditional Catholics who attended a pre-1970 Latin Mass as being susceptible to anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant, and anti-LGBTQ and white supremacist ideology. Yes, the rogue Catholics. And so Wray had previously told Congress that no FBI informers were placed inside churches holding Latin masses to investigate these alleged traits, though Hawley said agents approached a priest and a choir director to obtain information. Hawley accused Wray of deliberately misleading the public and Congress on intentional targeting of Catholics, to which Wray said, I don't know anything about that. We didn't do it. I'm not so sure. I know the memo's here and they said it, and they said they're going to do it, and they looked like they're going to do it, but I'm not sure if they did it because I'm the director of the FBI. I don't really pay attention to that shit. In the Daily Caller, also, Chip Roy grills DOJ attorney over the arrest of a pro-life dad. This is another one that's probably too long.
Please know that the division.
This is only 50 seconds, so we'll watch this clip.
Please know that the division is committed to even-handed enforcement of
bullshit.
But even under your watch, it's at least 35 to 1 or 2. That is not even-handed. That's far from even-handed. And importantly, Mark Houck, who was targeted, had a raid of his home, prosecuted under this, was acquitted by a jury. Have you apologized to him on behalf of the Department of Justice for that grave violation of his civil rights, having his family have to watch him being raided at his home, and then he's acquitted by a federal jury? Have you apologized to him?
Well, we follow the facts and apply the law. That is our job, and we welcome opportunities to engage with other pro-life groups that may be experiencing threats or acts.
The answer to that is no. Does the
reclaiming my time, I yield to the gentleman from Ohio.
Okay, anyway, He grilled the Department of Justice Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights Division on Tuesday over the arrest of a pro-life activist, Mark Houck, who was later acquitted on all charges. FBI agents raided Houck's home and arrested him in front of his petrified wife and children in September 2022 due to an altercation between Houck and a Planned Parenthood abortion clinic escort that took place in the previous year when the escort began harassing Houck's son. In January, a jury found Houck not guilty of violating the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, which makes it a federal crime to use force to intimidate, injure, or interfere with access to reproductive health care. So anyway, they have not apologized to him. Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite sponsor the show, and you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite, who says, we're dropping a deuce in the tip jar, saying it's bad enough that we pay one of the highest sales taxes in the country, then add all the toll fees, like $17 to pass through the bridges and tunnels. Now, this fucking bitch wants to add a new fee just for commuting to work. Just repeal the 19th.
That's right.
Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite. Yeah, man, if you live in New York, get out if you can. Holy shit. All right, real quick. I got a few more and then I got to go. PJ Media, this article on new details about the bizarre DC area house explosion. And this is the one someone asked about a little bit earlier. Let me make it fit on the screen, though. Just come on, Mark, get that right. There we go. At a Tuesday afternoon press conference, Arlington County, Virginia officials shared additional information about a bizarre home explosion that occurred in the Ballston neighborhood last night. According to Arlington County Police Chief Andy Penn, the individual who was in the home at the time of the explosion is dead. Okay, they say deceased, but I went Donald Trump and said dead. Hello, number one. Fire officials found human remains in the house and believe they belong to the suspect, James Yu, 56, who owns the home. However, DNA tests have not yet confirmed the identity of the remains. All factors point to that is the individual, but that is yet to be confirmed and is going to take time to confirm that as well. Penn said the ACPD, Arlington County Police Department, was called to the home at 844 North Burlington Street at approximately 4:45 p.m. for reports of possible shots fired. On-scene investigation revealed that a male suspect discharged a flare-type gun from the residence more than 30 times. He shot 30 flares? What was he doing that? The officers attempted to engage with the suspect without success. The search warrant was ultimately obtained to allow officers to secure any weapons to ensure there would be no ongoing threat to the community. It is not clear why police needed a warrant to enter the home of someone firing a flare gun from the residence. Nevertheless, members of the emergency response team initially attempted to execute the warrant through various forms of communication with the suspect. However, this was not successful. They deployed non-flammable, less lethal chemical munitions in multiple areas within the residence where the suspect was believed to be hiding, is known as gas, and hoped that he would surrender. But police say their only past interaction with you were to address calls for service for loud noise over the... Now, here's the thing. Interesting. So this home blew up? Anyway, I'm going to read this. Prior to the blast, residents of the area were evacuated for their safety. Fire officials turned off the gas to the home. There's no timeline for the investigation, but officials said debris was found several streets over based on topography, and 10 to 12 homes were damaged. This is a big explosion. Holy shit. Jason Jenkins of the Arlington County Assistant Fire Chief said that suppression efforts continue throughout the night and into the morning. At this point, the fire is completely extinguished. Asked by reporters why the area was evacuated prior to the explosion, Jenkins said that it was done at around 7 p.m. to protect residents of the neighborhood, including people who lived on the other half of the duplex. Again, in an attempt to mitigate or save lives, anything is possible, he said. So in that particular instance where an individual had barricaded themselves, we took the necessary steps to remove neighbors in case something such as this, as unfortunate as it is, would occur. So the reporter observed it seemed like you were fearful something was going to happen. He says, again, this is an attempt to mitigate risk. So I don't know. They said they turned off the gas at the address. So why would this house explode? I don't get it. Which means there might have been some other stuff in there, and this article doesn't seem to go there yet. So I don't know. There'll be more. Yeah, no way that was from gas. It was a massive explosion. Yeah. Methinks maybe he had some improvisational materials in his house. If you know what I mean, I have no idea. So there'll be more details coming out about that hopefully soon. The other articles left, school districts LGBTQ lesson plans for kindergartens includes resources from a pro-sex change organization in North Kansas City School District is offering children as young as kindergarten lessons on LGBTQ history that includes stories of little boys who dress up as little girls. The Daily Caller has learned Parents Defending Education was tipped off regarding an email sent to staff at the school district in October, providing a list of resources for the educators that was curated by Equity Advocates, which is let's see. The resources included and contain a list of student resources on LGBTQ history. Why in kindergarten do they need to know this? I don't get it. But it was compiled by the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, GLSEN, which has opposed restricting transgender identified children's access to lives. They oppose restricting trans-identified children's access to life-altering medical interventions. So an activist group is involved and they're teaching kids as young as kindergarten about the LGBTQ stuff, which I don't know why they need to know that, because, the kids don't necessarily have a sexuality at that age, and it's not worth, it's just stupid. Holy shit. Let's see. Republicans propose new office to enforce affirmative action ban. Oh, this is for the... this is dumb. Congressional Republicans on Tuesday introduced a bill that would create a dedicated office for investigating race discrimination in college admissions, the most dramatic effort yet to enforce the Supreme Court's ban on affirmative action. Do they need to look? I don't need big government solutions for this, even though I understand why they want to enforce the law. That's one of those things where you build an office and then that office never goes away and it always needs more funding. No, stop it. If there are individual cases, individuals can take schools to court. You don't need an office, a congressional fucking office, to investigate that shit, even if I agree with it. Stop spending money, assholes! All right, last two things. Daily Wire, University of Minnesota pushes critical race theory as public health with anti-racism training. See, now they're calling it public health. The University of Minnesota is instructing students on how to be anti-racist through its public health department, according to training material obtained by the Daily Wire through an open records request. The public university is putting students through Anti-Racism 101. The record, you know what anti-racism is? You know what it is? This is kind of Kendi's kind of thing. It's not anti-racism. So it's one of those things that sounds great, but it's warmed over affirmative action in social settings. And it's annoying. The article will be in the links. I'm not even going to go into it because I don't have time. Also, the Daily Wire. What's this one? I can't remember what's next. My mouse is not working. Come on. Where's the cursor? There it is. Okay. The last two articles, Daily Wire. Oh, that's the Riley. Oh, there's an article dedicated to the exchange between Riley Gaines and Congresswoman, what is her name? Summer Lee. And so you can watch that in that link. And then also, president of the LGBTQ advocate group says women should learn to lose gracefully to trans competitors. And this is going to be your end of the show palate cleanser.
Sports depends on a whole range of factors, including how hard you work and coaching. Good resources and facilities. And trans students participate in sports for the same reason as their kids, because it is fun, because it creates belonging and community, because it teaches so much about persistence and leadership and discipline, unless they learn to lose gracefully, hopefully. And often they learn to win with dignity, hopefully. They learn to do the sort of work that means you have higher grades and stay connected to school. I want every kid to have that chance.
That's great.
To have the
find
chance
another
to
way.
play. So I feel compelled to just end my testimony with a few ideas for the committee to pursue if it really wants to work on this issue. We could make it safer for student athletes who report harassment and sexual misconduct. We could address resource
except for when they complain that they have to compete and have a boy in their locker room. That's except for that, but everything else, she wants to make sure they can participate, but and make sure things are safe. But someone feeling uncomfortable, oh no, you eat that. You have to stay there with that penis in the locker room. So on that note, I gotta go. Thanks for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I'll put all these links in the chat during the outro, and it'll be in the description on both Rumble and YouTube. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for our sole sponsor and the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor today, Black Hebrew Israelite. Thank you very much. And everyone in the chat, I'm glad you were here, making it a lively conversation. I got to go, though. My name is P-Dog Night, and I'm out of here. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Links will be in the chat. Dink. Dink. Hey, this is P-Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Night, and I'm out of here.